morning and welcome to Brandenburg News Network. I am Donna Brandenburg, and it is the 18th day of June 2024. Welcome to our show today. We're going to jump right into this because I'm looking backstage and Mr. Tater, I'm going to hear him laughing about a minute here, is sitting there with his guitar ready to croon and welcome the day in.
I don't know about crooning, but because you found out or because I sent you a picture of my birdies.
Yes, that's great. Yeah. I didn't post it. I was going to ask for your permission to post that because it was beautiful. The Brandenburg chicken revolution is in full swing. You want me to post it?
Sure.
Oh, it's great because it's a great picture. Well, what are we? I'll do that while you're singing. What are we doing today, Mr. Tater?
Well, should we? Well, let me do the song first because this is more about the birds.
Okay.
On the branch of a tree sat a little tomtit, singing willow, tip willow, tip willow. An uncomfortable place for a birdie to sit, singing willow, tip willow, tip willow. So I said to him, buddy, why don't you go away? He said, thanks very much, but I'm planning to stay. I'm going to sit on this branch for the rest of the day, singing willow, tit willow, tit willow. So I said to him, buddy, you look so distraught, singing willow, tit willow, tit willow. You're going to be glad when you see what I brought. A pillow, a pillow, a pillow. I said, birdie, your pardon, I humbly beg. Put this comfortable pillow right under your leg. He said, leave me alone while I'm laying an egg, singing willow, tip willow, tip willow. The night by the light of the matzo ball moon, singing willow, tip willow, tip willow. That birdie was singing the same catchy tune, willow, tip willow, tip willow. I came and I took him right down from his branch, and I brought him back home to my split level ranch. And I said to my wife, here's a gift for you, Blanche, singing willow, tit willow, tit willow. Next morning I got up and I went to the shop, singing willow, tit willow, tit willow. That tune was so catchy it just wouldn't stop. Willow, 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 titty willow, tilly willow. That night I said, Blanche, how's the bird? She says, well. The bird was delicious, it tasted just swell. But as I fricasseed him, he gave out a yell, singing willow, tit willow, tit willow.
It's a little brutal, but okay. You're brutal, John. Bring a bird home and execute it. Jeepers, you're like Karen the Riveter. She's a savage. Yeah, I did help Karen put up we canned meat last week, and I taught her how to can meat. And so they executed a bunch of their chickens. They've got about 35 more to go. And but I got my digital canners out, which everybody should have if they want to start canning, because it's a heck of a lot easier than the old weighted canner way. I can do it both ways, but it's like not even worth your time to do it the old way if you've got a digital canner. So yeah. So anyhow, we got a whole bunch of chicken canned up for her last week, which is kind of cool. So there you go. So I wanted to bring this up this morning, boys and girls. The Constitution Party of Michigan, which is a U.S. taxpayers party, don't get confused. That's what they want, because they will not let us. Jocelyn Benson, one of the three top traitors in the state, our Secretary of State puppet, is not allowing us to change our name to the rest of the country, which is the Constitution Party, because she single-handedly wants to create confusion. So our nominating convention is on July 27th, 2024, 10 a.m. at Lost Arrow Resort, 1749 Bowmanville Road, Gladwin, Michigan. Desserts and snacks and such will be provided. We're working on our keynote speaker right now. $55 for each current paid USTPM member, $90 per new person. If you want to come, and it includes a membership, which we need help, so please join. We were talking last night. I had my communications committee meeting last night. Oh, I'm coming through on your side, John. Let's see. No, it went. Oh, we're going to get hacked again. Watch this. We got hacked epically yesterday, but we'll see what happens. We were in the communications committee meeting last night, and I'm the first vice chair. I'm the chairman of the communications committee, the membership committee, and resolutions committee now, because I told them once they cleaned all of the scum out of the party, I would volunteer for any position that's open, because we needed to keep this. Open for ballot access, because as we watch the destruction of the political parties around us that can't seem to get their act together in the state of Michigan, we've got 3 separate efforts for the Republican Party going on right now. Nobody knows what the heck's going on, and there is absolutely no leadership here. I actually have some great faith in Laura Trump. We'll see what she does. I like her a lot. So let's see if Michigan decides to get their heads out of their behinds and support an effort to unify everyone. That's what she talks about, or not. In the meantime, the U.S. Taxpayers Party, which is the Constitution Party, does have its head out its behind, and we're going in a good direction, but we do need more help and more people. So if you go to ustpm.org, I posted the link on our Facebook page this morning, and I'll be posting it all over the place. And I hope everybody comes to this. Plan on coming, because I'm going to be making apple crisp again in roasters, lots and lots of it. And so, arguably I make the best pies in the whole world, but it takes me longer to make the crust. So I'm going to do it like we did the last meeting, and it was gone very fast. So I'm going to have to bring more of it, because that's part of my little bit of my heritage here, is that we make pies, and we make really good pies. So there you go. So what's happening? What else is happening today, sir?
Well, I believe that the first problem that we have is the very basic foundation of what we are. Because 99% of the morons that are in office right now think we have a democracy. And as you can see, my hat says Magnificent Republic. We do not have a democracy. We never had a democracy. We never were meant to have a democracy. A democracy is a destructive form of government, and we do not have a democracy. And I don't know how you could better drive that information home to these public functionaries who really have no clue what a democracy versus a republic is.
Well, and I'm going to interject something here, because I had Bob Terry on yesterday, and they want this message killed so badly that we got an actual cyber attack that was almost a state level. It's like a state level hacking protocol, and Bob put intelligence tracking stuff on it to see where it was coming from, and it was absolutely like state level. So as we were going through this information, because Microsoft, there's a case that we went through about how Microsoft itself is rigging our election. And just so everybody knows, every time you hear that word democracy, you are literally being fed a line of BS that is taking down this nation. And what they're doing is they're actually creating companies or entities to push that word democracy in order to confuse people. So one of the things in the case that basically is being put together, because we have got to remove the electronic voting machines. They are hacked. They put all of the source code out there to hackers, to China. It's a state level hacking procedure that went on. Anybody can hack this. Everybody can hack it because the source code's out there, but they won't let us go in there and audit their source code because they said it's proprietary. But these fools put it out there for anybody on the planet to hack, so it's already out there. Okay, they did it through open source programming and such. But anyhow, the announcing the Defending Democracy program, share on Facebook and LinkedIn. In our January 2 Top 10 Tech Issues for 2018 report, we identified this year as a critical one for governments and technology companies to work together. Are you understanding what's happening here? To safeguard the electoral process. Governments and technology took over our election. Today we are heading our own call to action by announcing the launch of Microsoft's Defending Democracy program. It will work with all stakeholders in democratic countries globally to protect campaigns from hacking, increase political advertising transparency, yada, 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 as they threw the source code out to everyone. And it's all right there. And then when you get past it, they started something else, another thing called Election Guard. Microsoft has been working with governments, NGOs, academics. There you go. There's our fake education institutions and industry. There's BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street Capital. It's all right there. On the Defending Democracy program, one of the key components is Election Guard. It's a way of checking election results. Yeah, that's what they're doing. Because why? Because they have the source code and they can get in behind it, and they can not only check them, they can in fact manipulate the data. And there you go. They have their ties to HEART, Microsoft Democracy Forward. They changed the name from Defending Democracy to Microsoft Democracy Forward because that's what they do. They change names. They introduced MITRE, which is an election security lab. This is all Microsoft people, and they're in behind our election software. They're rigging our election from the operating systems of all of it. And every hacker on the planet that wants to get involved in this is full-time screwing with us. Full-time. If you don't have it figured out that the only way to fix these elections is to get rid of the machines, I don't know how much more explaining we can do. If we don't focus on these machines, we're dead. And it doesn't absolve us from not voting. I don't care if the machines are still up. We still have the duty to vote, every single one of us, and with the hope that we can overwhelm them by sheer numbers. And also, I believe that they're watching everything. So if they cheat again, it's going to be the greatest and largest sting in the history of the United States. But we have to do our part. Every single person has to vote. And we have to get everyone we know out there voting. Start a shuttle service for people that can't get there. Whatever you need to do, we've got to get every single person out there voting. And there you go. There's my plug on that. So Defending Democracy. Let's go back to the Republic.
Yes, the Republic versus a democracy. What's the difference? Can anybody tell me? But in your own mind, you ought to be thinking, what's the difference between a republic and a democracy?
Republic, representational government, right? And democracy, mob rule.
That's a nice short definition of it, and probably for a lot of people that would work. But the Republic has several basic ideas to it. First of all, it's based in our Constitution. Nowhere in the entire documents by our public functionaries, and including those founding fathers, have they ever spoke of a democracy. They said to destroy the democracy. Democracy is the worst thing we could ever even have in our country. A republic is where we hire people to work for us. That is the public functionaries. We hire them in through the voting process as how we bring them on board. But we hire them to work and to represent us in government. That's the whole function of a republic. And that's why we have a republic where we can have individuals in the political field represent us. We can go after those those that are representing. In a democracy where we all vote for any particular cause, it is 49% versus 51%. 41% or 51% say they want it a certain way, and the 49% suffer for whatever the 51% want. That is a democracy. It's mob rule, as you put it. In a republic, we all have individual rights that cannot be taken away from us from government. We do not have group rights. There's no black power rights or no ABCQ, the queer. I know them better by the queers. There is no queer rights. They all have the same rights that I have as you have.
Well, the problem that I have is that they want to step on everybody else's rights to have an opinion, or this hate speech bill that just passed the House. And I want to know why everyone isn't up in arms over this hate speech bill, because they are committing treason against the population, taking away our free speech by requiring us to use somebody else's use somebody else's pronouns. And what's that?
Not allowed.
It's not it's chargeable. It's like everybody has to approve of me as I am all the time. No, that's not the way it works. Do you care if people approve of you, John? I don't give a rat's rear end. You know, do what I want.
I don't need.
Yeah, whatever they want to say or think, go find yourselves a nice little corner and piddle your paper somewhere, because I'm not going to be anybody's lapdog.
So the republic is based on a constitution, on a written document, which obviously in this case is the railroad tracks by which government operates. They can't get off of these railroad tracks, at least they're not supposed to. And we, the people, are supposed to bring them to that particular, if they step out of line, they violate their oath of office, that's treason. That's nothing else but treason, and they should be held accountable for that. We have allowed that. I remember my father saying, "Oh, they lie all the time." That's not allowed. That's not acceptable. That's not why they're there. So our Constitution is the basic framework for which government operates. And the basic rights that are spelled out in the first 10 amendments are not all the rights we have. We have many more rights than that. And so we have to understand that the first 10 amendments just lays the basic foundation for rights that we want to be assured that they will not remove, such as freedom of speech and freedom of religion and the right to bear arms. Those are rights that cannot ever be removed from us. And had they not been in writing today, we would be having some real serious problems, because they would be able to adjust them and say, well, only certain religions or you only can have certain types of guns and stuff like that. That's not what the Constitution is set up for, and that's not why we have it. We don't have common law rights. Our Constitution is based on common law, but we do not have common law. Common law comes from England. We have a constitution, a written constitution that cannot be adjusted or changed unless it is amended. And we as the people need to remember that and stand for that and say, hey, you can't do that. Whitmer, you can't come up with those last 3 amendments that you brought forth and try to amend the Michigan Constitution based on a vote of the people. Can't be done. So those 3 new amendments that came on board are really fake and are a fraud on the public. And they're a fraud based on Whitmer, who is and her cronies up there. Those are the fraudulent people. They're the fakers. And we went along and we gave them permission to do that because we voted for those particular amendments. That is not acceptable. And what they did is they stepped outside their delegated authority, and they are treasonous, the 3 of them that are up there. And Benson doesn't have the authority to stop the Constitutional Party from changing their name.
She did it.
She doesn't have the authority, because first of all, we as the taxpayer party or the Constitutional Party should be going after her for doing that. She has no authority.
If the threat was that if we pushed it, that she could literally deny us ballot access in an unlawful way.
No, can't do it. Can't do it.
Well, they're
Only
doing all kinds of things that they're not supposed to do, but they do it anyway because they don't give a crap about the law.
Yeah, but if we start suing them, suing Benson specifically, and going after her for violations of her oath of office, we'll make traction eventually. It's not, because Michigan is probably the worst of the 50 states.
It is.
As far as corruption and fake and illegal government, but we have to do that. We have to
make everything.
Okay, so the basic republic is based on individual rights. We talked about not group rights. There is no such thing as a group right in a republic. All citizens.
Hold on a minute there. You said something so significant right there, is that groups, corporations, and such are trying to act like individuals. And that's the problem right there.
Right. Corporations, the only, in the Supreme Court, when the Supreme Court came and said that corporations can be acting as individuals, was only for the purpose of suing and being sued. That was it. Because at one point in time, public people, you and me, could not sue corporations because corporations had the shield. So that shield was eliminated by the Supreme Court by that court case, and I don't remember the name of it offhand, but I will look it up. That made the corporations equal to humans or equal to people for the purpose of suing and being sued. That's it.
Citizens United.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what it was. And that needs to be abolished. That was the intent. It's just like the amendments they put in Michigan. The intention was hijacked by how they framed it with selling it, because they're selling us this stuff all the time. Everything that was put in front of us is a sales job, and most people won't take the time to look past it. And because they flooded us with so much crap, you can't even focus on what's really important because it's a distraction method.
That's right. That's right. And they do sell it to us, and we do buy into it. We do believe, oh, they're coming from the government, so they should know what the law is. They are as crooked as they could possibly be. The DOJ doesn't exist. The DOJ was an act that was brought on by President Grant back in the day after the Civil War. He brought on the DOJ. The DOJ has no constitutional authority to be in power at all. But we buy into the fact that, we have attorney generals who also are part of the DOJ that don't exist. So this whole function has been brought upon us because we do not, as citizens of the United States, do not pay attention to what's going on. Do not pay attention to the law. Do not read the Supreme Court decisions, such as you were mentioning. What was the name of the Citizens United? Such as that. If you read those opinions by the Supreme Court, they probably say something totally different than what the government's trying to tell us they say.
Well, and the pronoun thing that passed this week, I have been slow to post it too, because it looks like there's a little bit of deception going on in that too, because I don't know how widespread this is, or if it's just applied to like the court system and some of that. And so I'm trying to work my way through that before I make a comment on that too. But we need to be more interested and have conversations about. Okay, so now I'm coming through your speaker.
We're having a problem again.
Yeah. So anyhow, go ahead.
Well, the only point I wanted to point out, the last part of this whole thing, is in the federal Constitution, in the United States Constitution, it states in Article 4, Section 4, that we have a republic form of government on every level. We are guaranteed a Republican form of government. We are not, it makes no mention of a democracy anywhere. We are guaranteed a Republican form of government, and people need to understand that. And every time a public functionary steps up, says, I'm running for office to protect our democracy, that's the one that you want to kick out of office, because that doesn't have any clue as to what they're doing in government. And so if we go to Article 4, Section 4, if we have a couple of minutes to do that, and we go to Article 4, Section 4, we will find that, as I had stated, the Constitution guarantees everybody in this United States, and this is Section 2 I'm looking at, the citizens of each state shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of citizens in the several states. Now, that can be looked at in many different directions, but it means that my rights are the same as your rights, are the same as the LGBTQ XYZ rights, and the black rights, and so on and so forth. It's guaranteed here in the Constitution.
Article what?
Constitution. Article 4, Section 2. Are you looking it up?
I've got it right here. I'm just kind of on it. Yeah, now I'm coming through. So I don't know what happened there. Can you turn your speaker down a little bit, please?
I didn't touch my speaker.
Yeah, it all of a sudden kicked in.
Huh. Is that better?
Oh, let's see. Yep.
Okay. And if we go to Article 3, it says new states may be admitted by Congress into the Union, but no new state shall be formed or erected within the jurisdiction of any other state. And I bring us back to Ohio not being a state.
Okay, Article 3.
Ohio, a territory, based on Section 3. It hasn't been changed. It hasn't been amended. And so it can't be brought forward by an act, as they have tried to do. And the most important point is Section 4. If you know nothing else in the Constitution, you got to know this part. The United States shall guarantee to every state in the Union a Republican form of government, and shall be protected, each of them, against invasion and on application of the legislature, But here we talk about against invasion. How about invasion by the electronic voting machines?
That's a foreign entity right now because they have handed the source code over to every nation on the planet. We know that the programming, some of it came from Serbia, and we do not have control of our elections. None of it.
So let's go back to, once again, what's a democracy versus a republic? A republic is where we have individual rights. They're guaranteed to us by God, and they're protected by the United States Constitution. We don't have constitutional rights. We have God-given rights. They're just under the protection of the United States Constitution. And that's the way we should be talking to these public functionaries who have no clue what they're doing when they're running for office. So our Republican form of government is a form of government where we elect individuals, we hire people. They are hirees, they are employees of the public. Now, I'm not talking about the fifth branch of government, which has been erected outside of the Constitution, and that's the bureaucracy. The bureaucracy doesn't exist because it can't exist. It's not constitutional.
And they weaponized it.
That's right. That brings us back to Norton versus Shelby County. It's been weaponized forever. When it was brought on board, it was weaponized because it was weaponized to be used against the public. No matter what they did, I mean, even when they came up with the EPA, and the EPA was supposed to be sure that everybody wore hard hats when they worked in a particular job, or that they had masks, or the very basic human things that had to be done in order to keep you protected. That is not ever to be used against the public. They can always give their suggestions to corporations or to companies, but they can't force companies. This nonsense about the gas being or cars having to have so many so many miles per gallon, or that they have to be protected. They have to protect the environment because they have to pollute less. That's a bunch of garbage that the government was never allowed to do. They could recommend, they could go to GM and say, you ought to do this. And GM could say, well, okay, for the basics of the public and to get the public, we're going to have the most energy efficient vehicle on the market. And then the people can pick and choose between Ford and GM because GM did a better job than Ford. That's all it is. We should have as many options out there as possible to pick and choose what we want and not be directed into a particular organization. The Tucker vehicle, for example, should have been allowed to be produced. And they destroyed the Tucker vehicle, and it was one of the better vehicles out there on the market at the time.
Well, they destroy anything that takes away from their power base because it's money back to them.
But it's unconstitutional, number one, if you want to use those terms. It's not allowed by the Constitution. And therefore, the public should need to stand strong and stop this nonsense, too. The public needs to get involved. And the public is actually getting involved. For example, the what was it, Bud Light with the
Dylan Mulvaney nonsense.
Yeah. You're being nice. I was going to say something else, but there people stop buying, which is good, which is the way it should be. Just put them out of business. Disneyland, Disney World, put them out of business. We don't need them. They need us.
Absolutely.
We are the ones that have the power. So, Article 4, Section 4 of the Federal Constitution, the United States Constitution, guarantees to everybody a Republican form of government, not a democracy. And lo and behold, we have Microsoft preaching a democracy. So that's got to tell you something right off the bat. They don't know either.
Programming our machines, for gosh sakes. I mean, that's what they're doing, is that they're behind the programming of the machines. And all of these things, you start linking them together, and the evidence was out there. But here's another question I have. Why is it that nobody within our government looked into this stuff or questioned it? Because every damn one of them is involved in it, because the ones that are in the seats have been selected to be there, to be part of this assault against we the people. And I'm going to go back to this. The whole mess needs to be called to attention and probably nullify about 90% of it that's there, and prosecute every single one of them that violated their oath, as well as their oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America. And I wanted to bring one other thing up, and I'm sorry to talk on this, but there was another woman that came up to me at Turning Point that wanted to have me sign this thing on term limits. And I sat there and I read it. She's like, we want to know that everybody is against term limits and you stand with us. Well, lo and behold, down in the fine point, they were going to do it through what? Convention of States, Constitutional Convention. And I looked at her and I said, though I am for term limits, because we should never have an industry, which is what we have, I will not sign this based on the fact that we have a crisis in the United States of ethics. We have an ethics crisis. We touch that Constitution right now. Are there enough people to stand? We can't even get people to run for office and that are honest, unless they're in it for on the take. there's not nearly enough people running for office to write this thing of just honest people that want to do something right for the nation. They sit back and they bitch and they complain, but they're not getting in the game. And so if we go down that path, the only protection we have right now is the Constitution, and that's it. They get their grubby little filthy hands on this thing, we're done.
I'll bring up the Convention of States. We don't need a new constitution. We need to support and we need to use the Constitution that we have, because the Constitution that we have is powerful, will shut them down. Number one, we'll go back to the fake money system. We get rid of the fake money system and they can't buy and sell as they have been doing right now. They can't print money out of nothing. They can't take and buy politicians. And if those politicians want to get themselves into a compromising position because they're doing something they shouldn't be doing, then they should be out of office anyway. So if we have the Constitution and we use the Constitution that we have, we will eliminate 100% of all of the nonsense that's going on out there. Well, we don't need a new Constitution.
No, well, it's a bad idea. It's a really bad idea. And all of these people that come forward, oh, we need to do X my tax because we shouldn't have property taxes. I agree with it. But the whole program is so freaking stupid that all people are doing is listening to headlines on this. It is a dumb plan. It is not going to do what you want it to do any more than the proposals or the amendments that got put in place at the last election. It is deceptive. It's going to do the opposite of what you think it is. And it's a bad plan. Just like this term limits gal that came up to me. And she's, they're always surprised when I actually tell them, no, I'm not going to support this. I said, you're half cocked with firing off a actual solution to this. And it's deceptive. Totally deceptive. It's gonna be interesting the next hour. Jeff Buongiorno called me this morning, and you will not believe what happened down in West Palm Beach, Florida. It is absolute election fraud that happened. And when you hear his story on how they're rigging this stuff and doing it deceptively, using the money system, this is a money system story, to deprive somebody from being on the ballot because they can do it.
Yep.
They screwed with his payment process for getting in, and they alleged that it was fraud. Took him down over an allegation, a random allegation, and then made it so that he couldn't meet the deadline, and there was no remedy. It was absolutely an attack. It was an intentional attack. The bank said they'd never seen anything like it. And they are rigging this system from every way possible. And I'm going to tell you what, I am a little concerned for the rightful president of the United States, President Donald J. Trump, right now, because these morons are backed up against the wall like a bunch of caged animals, and they're willing to do anything to stay in power. I hope everybody's praying for not only him, but the United States every single day, and all of the good leaders and the white hats that are in control, because we're in trouble.
Well, you and I both know about voter fraud.
Yeah.
You've been through it, and so have I. Many times I've been through the voter fraud of our government. And you've been through it. In fact, in your particular case where they lost those signatures or put them in the broom closet, who knows?
Well, that's what they did. That's what they did. They put it in the back of the office. And then I don't know if I told you this, but this week, that case to prosecute with the Attorney General's office, that we've got 3 people with 26 and 27 felonies apiece on them, 3 people. So it's 27, 26, 27. They bound it over to circuit court. The judge talked on record for over an hour and said it's the largest case he's ever seen, most significant. And these guys are going down. But what's really interesting is this is going to be the beginning of the discovery. Because guess what? We're not going to let this thing lay. And if anybody thinks that he acted alone, I got a news for you. The Republicans were paying people not to turn signatures in. The Democrats had these signature people on staff, and who's in it? It was both parties that were involved in it, and gone back to the fact that the Republican Party was the one that took me out.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Democrats didn't have to do a thing. They said that because they're all working together.
They are. This is the corruption that we have allowed to go through our system, and we have been playing in the fake system for a long time. Now it's hard to wake up a lot of people, but I think they're getting slapped, and I think they're waking up to realize that we have a real problem.
Reality slap right here.
Right. We need that reality slap.
Come on, wake up.
The funny money system is once the funny money system is over and we get rid of the bankers and the international banking cartel and that whole group of criminals, life will be better. You just clicked out.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here. I got like an eyelash in my eye or something. So.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the deep state playing a game with us.
No, that's all right. I was sitting here listening to you. So.
Okay. So the Republican form of government, Republican, we got to remember Republic, and we have to go after the politicians. If you're sitting in the audience and you have an opportunity to speak in the audience, you need to get up and ask them, what kind of government do we have? And how will you protect, once they say the republic or they say the democracy, then ask them, what does that mean to you? What does a democracy or what does a republic mean to you? And if they say we have a democracy, then you say, you know what? You need to get off the platform immediately and resign because you're stupid. You don't know what you're doing. And you need to get out of government because you really haven't learned what form of government we have at this point in time. We have too many people out there that really don't know.
Well, and it's being run like a high school pom-pom squad, Friday night gathering or something. I mean, it's the dumbest thing ever. It's all about popularity. It's not about qualifications. And it's not about following the law. It's like, oh, I like that person and that person. You got the flirt squad over here. You've got the. It's divided into so many different categories. It's not even funny. It's like, I like this person because I like the way they look. I like this person because they're aligned this way. Well, you know what? That is crap. That is absolutely crap. I want to know, are they talking to the people that are their constituents and carrying out their wishes? That's the question I want to know. And I think there needs to be a scorecard out there on all politicians on how they actually vote with their constituents and rank them. And if they get below a certain number, out you go. You're gone. You're disabled from being able to have any input because you are proving that you are violating your oath of office and not representing your constituents. And there's ways of doing that. We can collect all kinds of information and then hold them accountable. I mean, right there. I never heard anybody else talk about this, but that would be the quickest way to hold people accountable.
That's right. But we need the public behind us. We need the people in our government, or the people that are citizens of this country, understanding what we are and understanding how to keep this government as a Republican form of government and not allow it to go to a democracy. Because remember, if you control the language, you control the narrative, and that's what they're doing. That's what Microsoft is doing. Microsoft is pushing democracy, because they're trying to control the language so they can control the outcome.
They're dumbing people down. They're part of the education system of dumbing people down so that nobody really knows what they're doing. And then through the algorithms and all that other sort of thing, they are obfuscating the truth.
That's right.
But with intention, they're doing this knowingly to lead the population astray.
That's right. That's right. So we, the people, need to have our basic understanding of what we have in this country and how to go back to that republic and get rid of the democracy. I can't stress upon it enough, because I know there's a lot of people out there that still have a very basic, do not have a very basic understanding of Republican form of government and why we have a Republican form of government. That I'll bet that if you go down the street and you ask anybody, where does it say we have a democracy or a republic, they couldn't tell you. They couldn't tell you where it's located in the Constitution. So this is a very serious problem that we have, because people follow along with what, the sound bites of the radio and the television, and they follow what those people say. They're in power, they should be controlling, they're doing the right thing, or they're voting in the right way, or whatever. No, we have a Republican form of government, and I can't stress upon it enough.
Yeah. So I want to share something with everybody, because we're getting close. We're going to just stay on until Jeff can jump on. He may be a little bit behind. Can you stay a little bit longer?
Not too much. I mean, a few minutes maybe, but that's about it.
Okay. Here's John. John has joined the Brandenburg Chicken Revolution, and John and Susie built their coop here, and they've got their birds going. So you got your birds named?
No, not really. I mean, we call red, and okay. Well, Gray's got a name. What's Lacey? She calls it. Like she's just
Susie's Lacey. There. What you got him named, Susie? I can hear you.
What's the other names? I thought Lacey was the black one. What's Gray? What's the gray? Grayson. Grayson is gray, and Isa is the tan one.
Okay.
But look at how friendly the red actually jumped up on my leg. I didn't pick the bird up and put the bird. We let them free range as much as we can when we're out there, and bird just jumped up on my leg, and so they're very friendly, and they're fun to watch.
Are you doing it for eggs or meat?
Eggs, basically.
Yeah, that's all we do, is we do egg chickens and laying chickens and such. But they really become pets, and they're fun. It's like any other bird, that people keep as pets. When you get them out of these industrial raising, have you ever seen some of the stuff that happens in these industrial operations to raise chickens? It's horrible.
I've seen kind of the enclosed building where they kind of stuff them all in one spot. Yeah.
Well, they'll take the baby chicks that are as they're sorting them, they put them in a chute, and they go right into like a grinder alive. And it's like, when you see that the first time, you're like, "The hell? How can they do this? This is like, it's crazy." But they actually sort them after a couple of days coming out of the eggs, and they throw them in a grinder alive. And it's like, it's brutal. And the conditions that they live in, I mean, I'm super picky on our animals, like super picky. We have the horses never stand in manure, and we don't tolerate any of that. And we have like about a zero tolerance, but they're completely cleaned out. The pastures are cleaned out every day, so there's no manure around. And you can't believe how much that works for fly control or pest control when you keep your animals clean. In the wild, they wouldn't sit there in their own manure. They wouldn't sit in that. They'd move, and they let the ground rest, because that's the way God created them. But it's like, yeah, we baby ours, but they like to be held. Our birds like to be held, and they're like a cat or a dog or anything else. You get to know them, and they actually have personalities.
Yeah, they do. And one from another, you can tell a big difference from one bird to another bird.
Are they laying right now?
No. I've been told about somewhere at the end of July they will be laying.
4.5 to 5 months.
Yeah, well, it'll be probably end of July. They're 10, 11 weeks or 12 weeks old. That's all.
Yeah, that's still a little bit young yet. Then the first egg you get is going to be really exciting, but they're really little. The first eggs that they lay are just like a small, and it takes them a while to graduate up to larger eggs. But those first eggs, you look at them and go, "Oh, they're so cute," you know. But that's very cool.
I wanted to show you my shirt.
Okay. That's a great dad shirt. Everything going accordion to plan.
when we're talking about the Republic and we're talking about Trump and we're talking about reinstating the Republic, everything is going according to plan.
That's fun. Well, I was this last week, I met with Laura Trump on Wednesday night. I had quite a bit of time to talk with her, which was really nice. And she's a very nice person, very knowledgeable, well-spoken. I like her a lot. And I think she's going to give good direction to the failing Republican Party in the state of Michigan, because people won't get their heads out of their behinds and learn to work together. And so anyhow, that was a really good meeting. And I think she's going to direct it in a good direction right now. I've got great hope, really great hope for that. And that would be a really good thing. I mean, we need to unite people outside of the parties. She even said that. She said, it doesn't matter what party people are in, we want to work together. And I was like, yay, now we're talking. That's exactly what needs to be done. These partisan politics are all a lie, and we need to stop it. Just stop it, stop it, stop it. It needs to stop. And then I went to Turning Point this week, and I have so many interviews that I did at Turning Point USA, and really, really good interviews. My first interview was Jack Posobiec. So I'm going to start editing today to get these interviews up, and also to do to schedule more interviews with all of the people that I did interview. I cannot even tell you how many I did, because it from like 8 o'clock in the morning until the last dog was hung. So one of the days, 8 o'clock at night, it was just kaboom, 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 kaboom. And so really great. They did a great job. And every single person I talked to is out there to fight for people's rights. And the way that they're doing it, because the assault's really been against conservative values, because though we can fight for each other's rights, the way that they have weaponized these efforts like LGBTQ, going into schools to groom children, the porn in the schools, and all that sort of thing. I actually know quite a few people who are gay that are absolutely disgusted with anything grooming children. And they're like, we're being made the victim. Like, all of us feel that way. And they're like, we do not approve of grooming children at all. And they'll speak out about it. And I'm like, well, I appreciate that. And I think it's something worth considering, that we need to be thinking about how they're dividing groups off, using them to further their goals, to further divide us. And it is a concern. You know, we can have our own opinions on how people live. I mean, you can't have two people who are Christians sit in the same room agreeing with each other. Oh, they're a dispensationalist. They're following Satan on this. Oh, they're a Catholic. They're Satan worshipers. Oh, they're a this, they're a that. And it's become a cult of, you know, personal cults, you know, unless I agree with what everybody says, off with their hat. And then they want to go out and fry them out in the public. It's like, we have discussions, but that doesn't make anybody in a position of having all the knowledge, because none of us do. That's why we have to talk. And I think this is really an important thing, is that whether I had some meetings this week, and people I'm going to get fried for them. I can guarantee you that I'm going to get fried for the people that I've been talking to. I was at an event. There was one of the event was for a guy that's running for county commissioner for Kent County. Well, I like the guy. He's a nice enough guy. I know him fairly well. And he had Terry Lynn Land was there, and so was Chuck Yob. And I will talk to everyone. Nobody's going to tell me that I can't talk to somebody, because they've got their minds made up. And I think the reason being is that why it's so important is that We have to talk to everybody because there's so many lies going on. It's incredible how many people have put themselves into a cult of one thought to another. And just because they're willing to win at all costs will destroy everyone that's outside of that without going and finding out for themselves what the truth is. They're not out for the truth. They're out for winning at all costs. And I think that if we talk to people that we disagree with on different issues, maybe we're getting the true answer of what really happened. And I had that when I talked to Chief Craig over in Detroit. You know, everybody was dividing themselves up, and anybody that wasn't with them, whoever candidate they backed, they wouldn't talk to them. They wouldn't talk to anybody because they weren't interested in the truth. They were just interested in being right. And if somebody acts that way, they're part of the problem. We have to be able to talk. So anyhow, just a little background on Chief Craig. I went and I talked to Chief Craig. I wanted to talk to him because I'm like, something's not right here, and I don't know what it is. And I'm like, why didn't Detroit get burned to the ground with the rest of the cities? Was it because he's in with the globalists, out of the globalists? But what's the dynamic here, right? And basically what happened to Chief Craig is he didn't want to run for governor. Wasn't something he wanted to do. And I sat right there with him, talking to him. He did not want to run for governor. Someone took out a full-page ad that said, hey, Chief Craig is running for the governor of the state of Michigan. He said he got up and he was absolutely horrified with it. He goes, I didn't want to run for governor. He said, I like being chief of police. And the reason why Detroit didn't burn to the ground was because oh, Jeff's getting ready to get on here. Awesome. Let's see what happens here. He wanted to be chief of police. He was brought in under an Emergency Powers Act. He didn't have to follow all of the rules that were handed down by all these Marxist plants parading as mayors. You got to remember, the mayors appoint the chiefs of police. The chief of police is taking their orders from the Marxist mayors. We had the same thing happen in the city of Grand Rapids. I asked the cops, and I know a detective, why didn't you uphold your oath of office and keep the city safe? He said, we were told to stand down by the chief of police who was taking orders of the mayor. Chief Craig didn't have to take those orders. He did what he knew was the right thing to do. And guess what? They had to get rid of him in that position. So they published a full-page ad kind of forcing him to go forward in that direction. He didn't want to do it. And that's exactly what happened with him. So as the train left the station and everybody else was controlling the message, he had really no voice in this, and he didn't really want to do it. And so once they got him in there, I had somebody who was an investigator, a special agent for the state, and said, you realize this whole signature gathering thing, and this was straight from his mouth, was about getting rid of you. He said they had to get rid of you because you were the only non-establishment candidate there. Came right straight from the horse's mouth. I didn't make this up. It was told to me. And he said they had to make it look like they weren't picking on you, which is why they threw the other 4 under the bus. And so, guys, that's really what happened. And that was a special agent inside the Attorney General's office. And then they changed the evidence and removed one guy and put another guy in, changed the evidence, and are more interested in my civil case than they are the criminal case, which is really interesting to me. And you know what? Screw all of them. I am not going to lay down on this. And the case that's in the Attorney General's office, you know, I testified to that in a hearing and on. It's been bound over. And you know what? So help me God, we're going to get every single one of them. And that doesn't just mean the signature gatherers. It's the ones that put them up to it, because there was somebody that put them up to it. They were all working together to subvert your vote. It's not about Donna Brandenburg. I didn't want the job. I didn't need the job. I was asked to run, and I agreed to do it. And anybody that gets into politics and thinks they're doing it because they want to do it is lying to you, or they're part of the system. It's a complete shit show, and you're going to get attacked on every side, but you do it because the fight is worth it. It is something that has to be done, and we have to get in it, be willing to be attacked, and not back down anyway. And that's exactly where we're at. There's a whole bunch of really good people that are working behind the scenes right now. Trust me on this. And it's going to come to really bad ends for those people that think that they're going to defraud the United States population, we the people. It's going to be glorious. But anyhow, had to throw that out there. But that was the deal with Chief Craig, because I actually talked to him. So now watch Donna Brandenburg get fried for talking to Chuck Yob and all the rest of them. I'm going to talk to every one of them. If I could interview Hillary Clinton, I would, because I want to find out for myself what they have to say. And just like these morons pushing all of these proposals, the Convention of State and all of that, we have to talk to them and counter it. That woman was speechless because I knew what was behind it and said, I talked to her. I'm like, this is fraudulent. This is what they're doing. They're using these grassroots groups in order to subvert the United States and put out all of this stuff out there and say, oh, this is what we need to do because we want to get away from property tax. Yes, but what's their process? And this is why the proposals were bad. They threw it out there. Everybody jumped on them. And guess what? Parental rights ended because nobody took the time to find out what it actually said. And so I'm a little annoyed with the lack of intelligence of our voting population right now, and not being able to see through the lies and do the work they need to do as we the people. Still waiting for Jeff to come on. He's having trouble joining. Of course he is, because they want to bury the fact that they fraudulently removed him from having a spot on the ballot. But we'll get him on. I might call him in a minute. So
remember what the First Amendment is all about. Freedom of speech, freedom of the press. The whole reason that we have freedom of speech and freedom of the press is to have all of the different ideas and thought processes out in the public.
Yep. Well, hey, Jeff is on. Jeff has just got in through a call. Could you join Jeff through the link?
Yeah, Donna, I'm having a problem with my phone. I'm still driving. I have breaking news.
Yeah.
For you.
Hang on just 1 second. Do you want to wait until you stop, or do you want to jump on now?
Oh, you want to keep your guest on for like another 15 minutes?
We can do that. Or if you need to leave, you can leave, and it'll just be me and Jeff. And I'll throw a flag up or something, So really get him tuned up here. We'll put the American flag up there and or a picture of Donald J. Trump, the rightful president of the United States. Let's get him really sweet out there. So thanks for being on today, John. Have a great day, and we'll thank you for all you do. You're a true blessing and a hero in the United States of America with all you bring forward. I really thank you for everything you do, and we'll see you next Tuesday on Tatar Tuesday.
So long, everyone. Have a great week.
Give yourself a pitch for what your meetings are this week a minute.
By the way, we are going to be at Nicholas this Wednesday between 5 to 9. So if you have a chance to come out to Nicholas, it's in Southfield, just north of 10 Mile Road.
What day is it?
On Wednesday. Wednesday, we do not take donations. We want you to come and join the group and see what's going on and get educated so you understand what our republic is all about and how to fight for it.
Gotta know, and I want to work with you a little bit on getting this stuff from the election, stuff from Bob Terry up, so that we can roll that into our case of, hey, it's unconstitutional. They're bringing foreign intervention into our elections, and there's our flag in your face, people out there. Suck it up. We're in the United States of America. And then we're going to remove these electronic machines because it's nonsense. So we'll talk to you later. And I'm going to bring Jeff Buongiorno on right now. Thanks, John. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye, everyone.
Okay. So, wait. I screwed that one up. Let me bring my flag back on again. Ta-da. There we go. We'll get it eventually. So, Jeff, what's going on here? You got breaking news because they've been messing with you, and we need to talk about this.
Yes. Good morning, Donna. How are you?
Well, better than yesterday. We couldn't even hear anything you said, so I had to stop the feed, and we're not going to post it because there was so much intervention. And Bob found how they were hacking it, and so you then keep hacking away. We're not going to go away. It's just going to create some maybe temporary difficulties, and our viewers are smarter than the average bear out there. We've got smart viewers. They're going to keep coming back and staying with us, and it's just making you guys look bad. They're hacking us, but that's okay. Keep it up.
You know, it's really funny. Ever since that StreamYard yesterday, every time I make a phone call that's longer than 5 minutes, I get a message, an automated message, and it says that the person you are calling has a restricted phone, and it attempts to disconnect the call. Now, sometimes it disconnects. Other times, it stays on. And the person on the other line who I called last was like, yeah, that means your phone's being monitored.
Yeah.
Now, I don't have any scientific evidence that that's a fact, but it's just all too coincidental.
Yeah, monitor away, you idiots. So I'm not going to change anything we say. It's going to stay the same because you know what? We stand on truth. They're the ones that are lying. We're telling the truth.
Yeah, you don't have to censor the truth. I mean, that's what they're doing. They're censoring the truth, and it's well, we know what it is. And they tried canceling me off the ballot. You know, I'm running for Supervisor of Elections.
Yeah, tell everybody what happened to you because this is crazy.
Yeah, well, so you have a qualifying period in the state of Florida. It's a specific about a 5-day event from June 10th to June 14th at noon is the qualifying period for state candidates, local candidates to get on the ballot. And you have to submit your paperwork notarized and, you know, submit your financial form, all this, all of these steps. So I submitted at the last minute on June 14th, and I submitted my check and my paperwork, and everything was in order. Now, it's about $12,000 to get on the ballot in Florida. Unlike Michigan, where you have to get petitions, you can go either way. But I got into this late, and so we're paying the fee. Anyway, now comes Monday, the check is deposited, and the funds leave my account. But I get an email from PNC Retail Fraud Division stating that you have until 8:45 p.m. to contact us due to a fraud flagging. Forgot the verbiage. If you do not contact us, we will make our own decision based on the facts that we have. So I call them at 12:40, an hour and 13 minutes later from when they sent the email, and they said, well, your check was over $10,000. It's a brand new account. It was drawn on a starter account. It was handwritten. So we're evaluating it under a SARS report, suspicious activity report. And I said, okay, that's fine, but the check is good. Can you pay it? Please pay it. Oh, no, we can't pay it. It's 12:30 is the cutoff. You would have to let us know by 12:30. So I said, well, the email says 8:45 p.m. And she said, well, that's just a template that we use. I'm like, oh, really? So I go to the Supervisor of Elections office, and I show them the email, and they said, well, here's the statute. If a check, it says it's 99.061. If a check is returned for any reason, that you have until the end of the qualifying period to replace it with a certified bank check. So the end of the qualifying period was the day I handed the check in. So they said, oh, you're off the ballot.
Yeah, so you have no recourse to get back on.
Well, I didn't until this morning. I made a phone call, and I said, I asked for the Supervisor of Elections, the incumbent, and I said, can you please, should I please speak to Wendy Link? And of course, she's not available. So I left a message, and I said, well, can you please give her this message? Ask her how it's going to look that to the eye of the public, where she, on a technicality, eliminated her political rival. And he happened to be a martyr, and gain more population, and that's it. I said, basically, I'm asking you to reconsider. 12 minutes later, the phone rings. Bring us the certified check. You have till 11:30.
So you have the ability to get back on again.
I do. Right now, that's why I'm late. I had to stop at the bank. I got the certified check, and right now I am en route to the Supervisor of Elections office in Palm Beach, Florida.
Wow. If anybody else out there doesn't realize this, that Wendy needs to be replaced. Seriously, yes. Anybody involved in this sort of nonsense, they need to be gone. They should not be in a position of power, because this was, if Jeff weren't such a fighter, it's just like that. If you are going to fight against these people, you're not going to be able to back down. You're going to have to stand tough, and you're going to have to be unwavering in your goal to actually help restore this nation. Because anybody else that didn't have that resolve would never have pursued this, Jeff.
Yeah. You know, she was a DeSantis appointee as a Republican, and she flipped. She promised the people and the governor that she would just complete one term, because we had a corrupt supervisor of elections named Susan Boucher, and she was like a butcher. Susan Boucher, and she was fired and replaced. The governor recalled her and replaced Susan with Wendy. But the problem is that the governor replaced the warden, but all of the same prisoners are under the warden's control, and the prisoners are controlling the prison. So we have to clean house. Most of them, I'm sure there are some good, hardworking people, but I know that a lot of them have been. There's been a drive to bring in, people that are far left, and there's a corporate overlay. In Florida, we have 67 supervisors of elections. There's one for each county, and we have this corporate overlay. It's called the Florida Supervisors of Elections Incorporated, and they all take their marching orders from this corporate entity, which is not working in the best interest of the people. And I signed a pledge that I will not join the Florida Supervisors of Elections Incorporated.
Wow. So it's like kind of go big or go home time. I think that's a great strategy, because you can't join in with people that are part of the corruption. You can't. And you got to clean house, and you got to do the right thing. I just had somebody on the chat just say that they were just booted off the channel just now. So this is why it's so important to stay with things, and to even so much as listening. Yeah. Okay. Denise got it. Fantastic, Denise. Call me when I'm offline, because I just had somebody that said that they'll run under the Constitution Party in the state of Michigan. Hey, anybody that wants to run, join the Constitution Party and give me a call. I put my number out there. We'll get you plugged in here. If you want to run for anything and you're honest, you get put through our vetting process, and you can run for office for the state of Michigan with the Constitution Party, the U.S. Taxpayers Party. And that's totally shocking and crazy, Jeff.
Yeah, so Wendy, now she's at the end of that appointment period, and she decides to run for re-election, but she flips party to Democrat.
Of course.
Which this is a very common theme in Palm Beach County. In Palm Beach County, we have like trans Republicans. They endorse Democrats, and it's a uniparty. It's just like it's the elitists, and they control Palm Beach politics. It's, we see it time in and time out. It's really it needs to be, this is the home of Donald Trump, and it's also the home of Jeffrey Epstein. So we have we have clashing forces here. You have the MAGA force, and you have the rhinos and the milquetoast country club Republicans. And then you have the corruption of, that Epstein has brought to this county.
Well, and I got to tell you, going back to Epstein, Epstein wasn't the only one. There are so many of these kinds of people out there. It's incredible. The networks of sex trafficking, human trafficking, drug trafficking, and all of this nonsense where they've taken over our corporations. And so it's huge. And they're trying to keep we Americans divided so that they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, it's such a good point. You know, I'm not sure if you read the story in the Miami Independent. If I sent you the link to that news article in the Miami Independent about how we went to the county commissioners meeting, and as soon as we said illegals or non-citizens voting, they cut off our microphone and silenced us. I just did Ann Vandersteel's show yesterday, and she did a very nice job editing and putting this all together. And it was shocking how these tyrants are going to they're silencing us, and it's very disturbing. We had about 25 people attend this county meeting where we were concerned about any non-citizens voting, and they shut us down.
Here, I've got it. Let's see if I can put it up here so that we get the Miami Independent. And I didn't send it to me, but I can pull it up myself. So here we go. Non-citizens may be able to vote in the Florida elections, Palm Beach County Commissioner. And I don't know if there's a video on here.
No, there's just pictures. There's videos on my website. If you want to, you could maybe play that. It's about a 12-minute video.
Give me your website name, because I was just searching for it while you were talking. Yeah. So and they're hiding it. So give me the exact.
I'll text you the link. How's that? Or I'll tell it to you right now so the audience hears it.
Yeah.
So it's tinyurl.com. I shortened it using this little service called tinyurl.com.
Okay.
And then it's /2024 crisis.
Okay.
So once again, that's tinyurl.com /2024 crisis.
Watch list 2024. Is that it?
Say again?
It's coming up as they're trying to hide. They're hiding your website. It's got crisis 2024.
No, the other way. 2024 crisis. The year comes first.
Yeah, I've got it. And all it's got is watch list 2024. Let me try a different browser here a minute.
Tiny URL, right? You did that right?
Yeah.
Okay,
tinyurl.com, and then it's /2024 crisis.
All one word, yeah.
All right, let's see if it'll give it to me. It's chewing. Oh, that got to it. So it doesn't work in the browser Edge. Works in it's not able to be cross-platform, or it doesn't come up in doesn't test out under Edge.
Go to votebonji.com.
I've got it now. Now. I just had to to change browsers. So it's not going on all browsers.
That's a great educational video for everyone about how we have a constitutional crisis.
How many minutes is it?
It's an interview with Doug McGregor, and then I go to at the end of the video, I edit it and I show all the evidence. I show how the non-citizens are obtaining Social Security numbers, and how the federal government has basically declared citizenship to be a state of mind.
I wanted to go through what you were talking about yesterday when we got totally cut off. Do you want me to play that video right now?
Well, if you could, and then I could set up over here with the audit.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I'll play it right now. So here's the video Jeff's talking about. We're going to play that a minute, and then this is going to be kind of an off-the-rails show, but that's okay. That's what we do here.
Today is our guest.
Yeah.
This is Jeff Buongiorno.
Oh, now it's got video. Check this out, Jeff. Check this out. They've got a video playback aborted due to network error. I am not kidding you. This is how it works, people. This is what they're doing. Let me see what I can do here to get it going. But yeah, I might have to do it in a smaller. Yeah, it's not playing from your website right now. It went from 0 to the end. Let's see if I can get it to play. Looks like they took it down on your website. I'll show you I don't know if you can see what we're seeing, but this is what's happening. Video playback aborted due to network error. They do not want anybody to see this.
Yeah, that's okay. So let me give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute.
Oh, this is funny. These guys think they're pretty hot stuff. We're just keep going. This is absolutely ridiculous. It's okay. See if people stick with us or not.
Yep. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. I'm going to send you.
Still chewing on it. Won't come up. Wild. Let's go ahead and I should put up pictures of the criminals in office. Let's see if I can find memes. Well, at least make it funny if we have to.
Yeah, check that link.
Okay. This is the list of criminals. Oh, this is funny. Okay, I can't put that up right now. So did you text it?
Let me break. Can we break and I'll be back in a few? Or you want to stay on with me?
I'll just stay on with me a minute. So I'm going to assume. Okay, hang on a minute. We're going to do some magic here, people. There's more than one way to skin a cat. This is the way you do it.
That link, and I also was on Rumble.
Okay, hang on a minute. We'll get it here.
Ralph.
The proposals were bad. They threw it out there. Everybody jumped on it. Parental rights ended. Okay, there's Jeff. Now I'm going to jump over here and try to do something. I've got like 4 screens up here, people. Let's see if we can get this. Truth's got to get out. Watch it on the replay if you have to. And it's going to take a minute. This is like sitting down with just somebody for coffee, right?
Say again?
It's like sitting down with people for coffee, just kind of writing, making the playbook up as we go, trying to get around these attacks. Because this is exactly what it is. You know, my phone was acting up yesterday too, and I know a lot of other people were acting up too. So, let's see. Squirrels are working on it. Hang on.
Yeah, so I'm walking in now to take care of business.
Okay. To get the check right, correct?
Yes.
Too bad you can't have it on video. That'd be great. So you guys can timestamp this. This is Jeff walking in to write things with the frauds in office.
Hello. Good morning. Okay. Yeah.
Come on, squirrels, process it.
Yeah, so just waiting for
Getting your receipt
to process. Yes.
Well, this is cool because it's happening as we're speaking right now online. And sometimes it takes a little bit to get these things, but I'm kind of cool that we're walking through this with you. In their faces, screw all of them.
So there's also an audit of the primary going on right now.
Okay.
With some folks down here in Palm Beach.
Okay. Hang on, I'm having to resend that link a minute because it's taking its own sweet time. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can get it that way. Let's see if I can. Let's try that. Try it this way. Well, they're doing a good job of hiding this stuff. I'm going to tell you what. Okay, here we go. I got it finally. Let's see if it... Do they have a video on that? If they have a video on that, or is it just, oh, here it is. Elections are not certifiable.
Yes.
Okay, I think we got it here.
Good.
I'll try a different way. What there's a what is as have, is that part of it? Or there's a lot of
One simple and brilliant trick to cool your home in minutes. Tired of hot and stuffy rooms during summer? And former NASA engineer from...
Don't buy another pair of glasses until you've seen what this new invention can do. These
Today is our guest. Is Jeff
Sounds like they're playing as on Rumble.
who is running for Supervisor of Elections in Palm Beach County. And we're going to try and find out from Jeff how he decided to do this, why he decided to do it, and what this entails. Because I don't think most Americans really understand the importance of being a Supervisor of Elections. So, Jeff.
Yeah, well, thanks for the intro. Thanks for having me, sir. I'm running for Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections to restore truth, accountability, and transparency through our election. It's been decades since we've had a transparent, fully certifiable election, and the people are not aware. Recently, we made an adjustment to our U.S. Code 611C3. It's Title 18 U.S. Code 611C3. And basically what it says, believe it or not, is that citizenship is a state of mind. And if an illegal alien reasonably believes that they...
Okay, pause it. Is anything happening there? Anything happening there, Jeff?
Yes.
Okay.
So now we paid, and they're doing the ballot fee is all taken care of. It seems like we're all good now. They reconsidered. They gave me another day, and I am on the ballot. So that's good news for everyone.
Jeff's on the ballot.
A lot of support, and a lot of people were very disappointed yesterday. But now it's the issue has been resolved, and we are now looking at some people that are auditing the 2024 presidential primary. And if I'm right next to the Palm Beach International Airport, so you might hear some background noise of some jumbo jets taking off.
Cool.
And this is where Trump forces. This is the home of Trump Force as well in Palm Beach County.
Very, very cool. Well, congratulations. I want to be the first to congratulate you for making it through and being on the ballot in Palm Beach County.
Well, thank you.
And so now everybody, we got to get the word out there that Jeff actually foiled or messed up their plans to take him off being able to be on the ballot. And it was intentional. You can't look at this and say any other way, because the bank even said they didn't even, and they'd never seen anything like this.
Well, yeah, the bank manager said her daily report was 2 hours late. And usually it's 9:30 every morning. If there's any kind of fraud, or if there's any kind of, let's say that a customer is overdrawn, she calls them. So mine was flagged for fraud, but she didn't get it at 9:30. She got it at 11:23. And I got my email at 11:27 stating that there was fraud, and it said that I had till 8:45 to resolve it. But meanwhile, I only had till 12:30, according to their policy.
Yeah, it was totally, you couldn't even make this stuff up. And now, knowing that they're on every single device, they can come into any device through the Microsoft planning programming. They can leave, they can do it without leaving a footprint, and they can plant things, they can take things out, and they can change things. But in your case, it was absolutely just a judgment call.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it. I had some great ideas after I was told I was removed, and I'm not sure if they, if they heard my ideas and they said, well, maybe it's better if he is a candidate and he doesn't go with the plan B that I was suggesting to the people.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, I think I'd rather go in the lawfare route than try to beat the incumbent supervisor of my own election. It's kind of like Katie Hobbs and Carrie Lake. So I'm challenging the supervisor of elections who's going to administer her own election. Good luck with that, right?
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. Do you have to go back and play the rest of this video?
Yeah, that would be great. There's not much going on here. There's a few people in the room looking at some ballots.
Well, it's a celebration day that you're on the ballot. So let's go through this video a minute, and then we'll bring you back on for making any comments after it's done, okay?
Yes.
Have the right to vote. It's not a crime.
Illegals, if you will, or would-be illegals at that point, migrating north, are being instructed how they can get into the United States and ultimately vote. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, this is a coup d'état. This is treason. Our government's allowing it. They're using NGOs as their basic army, and our own taxpayer dollars are funding it. So you have, what's even worse than the memo that Maduro's handed out is the cell phone, and they handed cell phones with apps, with applications on it. One of them is called the CBP-1 app, and that's Customs Border Patrol. And what it does is basically it's Expedia for illegals. It tells them where to go, whether it's Texas, whether it's Eagle Pass, whether it's Arizona, and it's a concierge where they have an appointment, and they're taking down their information of the illegal who's entering, and it's going into a federal database, which is very interesting because there's a method to verify voters, part of the HAVV, what you mentioned, and this methodology is to use a 4-digit code, the last 4 digits of a social security number, and you can register to vote. Now, there's no citizenship check, and there's no ID. So simply the feds, they receive data, transactions, and they pretty much approve. Yes, the person's deceased, or it's a good registration. The problem with that is at the local level, the position I'm running for, Supervisor of Elections in Palm Beach County, they're blindly accepting this registration. So there's no citizen check. This has been going on as far back as I can track is to 2011, and since 2011, there's been 1.2 million transactions only in Florida alone. Now, not everyone was approved, but
the vast majority.
Yeah, the vast majority probably were. And you can also graph this out, and you can see that certain states are under attack. Texas is under attack. Now, I put some information out on social media, and it got retweeted, and Elon Musk commented on it, and there were 65 million views, and then President Trump and Mike Johnson held a press conference, and they spoke about it, and then the House put forth a bill.
And I watched a lot of people steal your video too, and or steal your information, which I don't have any respect for because you were the ones that did the work. So, but I'm going to continue. I digress.
That, you know, we must have, and that's not going anywhere. But the problem with that is unbelievable. Yeah, and the Secretary of State of Texas, Jay Nelson, she put out a memo, a press release, saying that the information on the internet is false. And the wording that she used was very suspect. She said, while Texans must show a photo ID to vote, while individuals can register and vote with a social security number, a 4-digit code. So I believe that those are very telling words.
You know, at the same time, isn't it fair to say that certainly Florida, I assume Texas, most other states stipulate that in order to vote in the state, you must be a United States citizen?
Yeah, well, that's Article 6, Section 2 of the Florida State Constitution, and there is a statute that states that. Here's how it works.
Before you go on, so effectively, the federal government is working to undermine enforcement of the law in terms of citizenship.
I believe 100% that they're orchestrating this invasion. Why wouldn't they?
So that means that these people walk into the United States, they get this number. When it comes to election day in November, they show up and they say, well, I don't have a photo ID for a driver's license, or I don't have another form of ID, but I have this number. And if you call the Social Security agency, they'll tell you, I'm good to go. Is that right?
Close. Here's how it works. So you can request a vote by mail ballot and only produce that 4-digit code. And in Florida, you can request up to 3, not just 1, 3. So here you have a nameless, faceless person who's only reduced to a 4-digit code who might not even ever see that ballot. In Florida, we have what's called third-party voter registration organizations, and it's very. So let's back up 1 second. So here you have a registration only using a 4-digit code. Now they enter into the voter registration book and they request a vote by mail ballot from the internet. They also send in the ballot and they write their 4-digit code down and they sign it. Now we know signature verification is very stringent. So these voters are nameless and faceless. Now, what you mentioned was you made a great point. Well, I want to go to the poll, guys like you and I and everyone in this room. We want to go vote in person, right? We're proud. We know we saw it. What happens the first thing you walk in? They ask you for a photo ID, and I can't say, well, can I get 2 more ballots from my friends in the car? Well, no, you can't. You can get 1. So I believe that the laws have been abridged to accommodate what the administration calls newcomers.
And the other thing there is, how can you use besides it being absolutely not an identifier, Jeff, how can you use a 4-digit code? Because the maximum unique 4 digits would be is 10,000 when you got a country of.
They do look at the date of birth, right? Okay. So they're going to have more than 1 check according to what they say. Well, I understand what you're saying. It's only 4 digits, but they do look at the name and the date of birth. But it doesn't prove citizenship because they're giving non-citizens can work. They can get social security numbers. They can get driver's license. So, if you look at that at Title 18, Section 611, C3 of the federal law, you could do a search on that. It's U.S. Code 611, C3. You pull that up, and you'll see C3 says it's not a crime for an illegal alien to vote if they reasonably believe that they were a citizen at the time of voting. Did you catch that, Donna?
Yep, I'm pulling it up right now. So it's U.S. Code 611.
U.S. Code 611, C3, Title 18.
Yep, it's right here.
Yep. So maybe you want to share that screen with everyone. I mean, that's basically the people that are orchestrating the invasion. I call it weapons of mass migration, and what they're doing there. Yes, is Speckman here? Okay, so what they're doing is basically saying citizenship is a state of mind. And I'm doing a podcast live. I'll come in a minute.
Well, if you need to stop, Jeff, I mean, this is a celebration day, and you need to be able to do work. We can always talk about this later because I can always flip the cameras on with you, and everybody that's out there, stay with this story. This is a big deal, and so I mean, we can stay with this if you need to do something else.
Yeah, you could texted you about NGOs in Florida, how we banned non-citizens from registering citizens. And it was so important and that's part of my video at the end, where it was so important to them. The leftists, they lobbied so hard. They said, you have to have non-citizens register citizens because the Latina community and the Black community, we need help. And it was a bunch of race baiting, bunch of bull, like they always do. And then I could show you I sent you a link to the article where the judge on appeal reversed the decision. So now non-citizens in the state of Florida are registering citizens to vote. Now, if that's not foreign interference, I don't know what is.
It is foreign interference. The whole thing is a mess, and it all needs to be basically scrapped until we get this thing corrected. Because you can't. It's like we can sit here and keep pandering and say, "Oh yeah, we've got elections." No, we don't. We don't have elections. We don't have free and fair elections. We've got the illusion of elections, but there's no elections going on here.
You don't have a license, put your name in.
Yes, so that's, I think you have enough there on those two links. Maybe you want to talk about.
I'm going to just go ahead and play this. I'll go ahead and play this, and then we'll come back on Monday or whenever you want to pop back in and go through this, because I like you explaining it from your perspective, because you're right there in it. I can explain it, but I'd rather have you do that.
You got to begin it to win it.
There you go. All right, Jeff, we'll go in and haul tail and take names and take no prisoners. All right, buddy?
Yes. Thank you so much, Donna. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for jumping on, and congratulations. I'm very, very happy that you're running.
Not allowed to use the phone.
All right, so it's back to me and Jeff, the video. So let's play this a minute, and we're going to continue on.
To make it easier for them to register. But the most alarming thing is I believe that the third-party voter registration organizations, also known as NGOs, that's a Florida thing, well, what do? The period closes where you can't register, and it's kind of like Antifa changes uniforms and they're pro-Hamas. Well, what are they going to do? They're going to change their uniforms. They're not going to register voters. They're going to go around, and they're going to collect those ballots. And they have 10 days to turn in. So they have all the pedigree of the person that they're registering from the CBP1 app and from the voter registration form. So now they have a 10-day period to put that in the database, whatever they want to do. So now they know where to get the votes from. So this is how the ballot harvesting schemes are orchestrated. What can we do? That the administrative state is not going to like this, but it's very simple. We wipe out every database, every voter registration database in the country.
Agreed.
And everyone, patriotically and peacefully, they go and they register and they show photo ID and they show proof of citizenship. Or else we're not going to have a fair election. That is the only way. That's their ammunition. The machines and everything else, that's the weaponry. But we could take the ammunition away from the bad actors by simply stating that our voter rolls are tainted. And if you're a supervisor of elections, if you're a certifying official, how can you certify that the election was legally run when you're violating? You don't know it. You can't certify, right? Cert is the truth.
Well, listen, this is the critical question, because I agree with you. What you've outlined or stipulated is a great solution that's desperately needed. In fact, I would argue that in-person voting is the only form of voting we should have, with the exception of people serving in the regular armed forces or activated for the reserves, serving in the regular armed forces overseas who cannot come back and vote. That's it.
Well,
now, let me finish here.
Yeah.
My concern, though, is you're supervisor of elections, and you're between now and election day, you're probably not going to have that action take place. We're not going to wipe out all these voter bases, although we should, and start from scratch. Instead, you're going to have to deal with the reality that you're getting votes that you can't verify from American citizens, especially absentee ballots. Correct?
That's correct.
So
crisis. I believe there's no other alternative to have a true and fair election. And it has to go back to the elected officials who are certifying. They should speak up and say, I can't certify an election. I'm putting my name on it. And guess what? In Palm Beach County, they don't use wet ink. They stamp. There's a stamp. So, this is a constitutional crisis. It should go to the governor. It should go to the governor of every state, because it's just not possible to have a fair election.
Well, in that connection, is it possible for Governor DeSantis to announce, I'm decreeing that we are going to re-register or register anew for the federal election in November? So everyone today who is a legal resident of Florida and is a U.S. citizen must go to their respective location, which you will be provided, and there you must register anew. And if you're not registered at this time, when you show up in November, you will not vote.
Hey, if the governor can if the governor can lock down the state of Florida for COVID, I'm sure he could do that.
Yeah, I think that's a critical point. Everybody needs to take that on board. If the governor of a state can lock everyone down or liberate everyone from confinement, he can damn well do this.
Well said.
Yeah.
So you heard all the talk. Let's see exactly what this is. And what we have here is the explanation of Help America Vote Verification System. In August 2004, this was established. States must only submit a request to us for new voters who do not present a valid driver's license during the voter registration process. Have verifies the accuracy of the name, date of birth, and last 4 digits of a social security number submitted, and sends an indication of whether our records show the individual as deceased. So the basic concept here is this is supposed to come from the motor vehicle database, and the states are supposed to send it up. But according to my sources, this is being abused in other ways with other data inputs. So let's just take a look. It gives us all of the transactions. So I'm going to take a look January 2011 to present. And I'm just concerned about Florida right now. We have 1.2 million transactions. Almost 400,000 were non-match, as you can see on top. 846,000 were matched. Only 313 of these 1.2 million are deceased. So this is a lot of data transactions just to get to 313 voters being deceased. So you can look for yourself. You can go to ssa.gov/open/have, and then from there you can navigate and drop down. You can see different weeks, and it's all there. You can't dispute this.
Thank you. Sir, state your name. You're recognized.
William Voltmer. My topic today is voting by non-citizens.
Sir, that is not part of our jurisdiction. I'm so sorry, but I appreciate you coming forward today. But that's not something that we can take in our public
County
comment.
commissioners.
Thank you anyway, sir. What is the next name, Commissioner
Unbelievable.
Weiss?
Michael Zaran.
Unbelievable.
July 3rd, 2023, Judge Mark Walker ruled that Florida must allow non-citizens to register citizens as workers for third-party voter registration organizations. Next, you'll hear 5 minutes of lobbying efforts in Tallahassee from May 24th, I believe, 2022.
Okay, yeah, we're on the same place. So what we're saying is for those folks that are out soliciting, advocating, encouraging folks to register to vote, that doesn't apply to them. It's only at the moment where they're going to collect and handle that potential voter's personal information that we want you to be a U.S. citizen.
Representative Henson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Why does this prohibition apply to all people who aren't U.S. citizens?
Representative McClure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, I would say that there's another portion that discusses other folks that we don't want handling it, but specifically for the U.S. citizenship, These are U.S. elections, and again, we're not prohibiting someone's First Amendment right to go and advocate and solicit and be a part of a team that's encouraging folks to register. We're just simply saying, in an abundance of caution for that potential voter's personal information, that at the time they hand over that sacred information, that it goes to a U.S. citizen for collection and handling purposes only.
Other questions of the sponsor. Representative Bartleman, any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If your concern is about security, why wouldn't you allow non-U.S. citizens who have been vetted, like legal permanent residents, to collect and handle registration applications? They have other jobs where they get the same sensitive information.
Representative McClure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, as it relates to other jobs, I would imagine there's processes and protocol in place, whereas with third-party organizations or any organization that may or may not have that. So again, not prohibiting them from participating. I would imagine to the extent that a third-party voter registration organization is their mission is to register voters, having folks advocate, that's wonderful. It's just at the moment of collection and handling that we're going to ask them to be a U.S. citizen.
Representative Waldron, I think I saw your hand. I see Representative Woodson. Okay, Representative Woodson, we'll go to you next. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative McClure, can you clarify for me this question? Are non-U.S. citizens allowed to work for the Department of Elections, for the divisions of elections?
Representative, is that a question to the bill? You're asking him whether non-citizens are allowed to work for the Department of Corrections? I'm sorry, Representative McClure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The bill doesn't contemplate that, but I believe they are, yes.
Representative Woodson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can you explain why this bill makes this distinction based simply on whether someone is a U.S. citizen?
Representative McClure, I think that's been asked and answered, but if you'd like to take another stab at an answer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, sir. I think it has been asked and answered, but again, we're not saying that you can't advocate, solicit, be a part of a team to get folks to register. We're just saying when that voter, this is to protect the voter's personal information. At the moment that they submit that information to a third-party organization, we want it to go in the hands of a U.S. citizen.
Further questions? Representative Waldron.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, are you saying that a non-U.S. citizen who's employed by the Division of Elections or the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles or the County Tax Collector's Office could be seeing and processing voter registration applications with voters' personal information for their job, but they would be prohibited from volunteering at a voter registration drive with a third-party voter registration organization where they'd be collecting and handling this information?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What I would say is I think in those specific instances that you refer to, whether the Department of State or the DMV, et cetera, there's processes, procedures, sometimes background checks. There's clear operating procedures on how you are to comport yourself when handling that sensitive information. In contrast, with a third-party voter organization, none of those processes are prescribed here. And so I think the safest thing for us to do, again, in an abundance of caution for that potential voter to protect their personal information. You know, there's plenty of law elsewhere on the books where we take personal information theft, identity theft, you know, that's something that we take very seriously. And so we want to protect that voter's information. And so as a function of that, we make that distinction here that when they collect and handle, we want it to be in a U.S. citizen's hands.
Despite numerous requests across multiple jurisdictions, not one single SOE has provided any information as per the HAVE website stating that we must contact the appropriate voter registration official in the state. Here you have Article 6, Section 2, says every citizen, every voter must be a citizen, must be at least 18, and must live in the county where they vote. Then we have, to back it, we have Statute 97.041, which says basically the same thing. You must be a legal resident of the state of Florida. You must be a legal resident of the county in which you are registered, and you must be a citizen of the United States. The bottom line is that these elections, not possible to have a fair election.
Well, in that connection, is it possible for Governor DeSantis to announce, I'm decreeing that we are going to re-register or register anew for the federal election in November. So everyone today who is a legal resident of Florida and is a U.S. citizen must go to their respective location, which you will be provided, and there you must register anew. And if you're not registered at this time, when you show up in November, you will not vote.
Hey, if the governor can if the governor can lock down the state of Florida for COVID, I'm sure he could do that.
Yeah, I think that's a critical point. Everybody needs to take that on board. If the governor of a state can lock everyone down or liberate everyone from confinement, he can damn well do this.
Well said.
There you go. So good job by Jeff and Douglas McGregor. I'm really thankful for what they put out there. So I think we'll have Jeff come back on again, but this is certainly a celebration day for all of us because Jeff stayed with the fight long enough in order for him to fight this illegal removal that they did through means. I got to tell you, something happened to me recently too, because this is how they're rigging so much of it. I applied and I got everything ready to become a official notary, took out the bond on it, filled out the paperwork, went to the courthouse to get the paperwork done. And the Secretary of State website that I'm supposed to be able to register on to get my application in to receive the number for becoming a notary will not let me register. And we have been on there multiple times, but they are literally this whole state is run so poorly. The access to we the people is not there, and they are literally denying access to me right now. I can't even put an account together in order to work with them. And I think this is another way that they're subverting we the people. If it's happening to me, it's happening to other people out there. I can guarantee you that. Also, they're making the whole cyber part of this state is and was created to make the processes hard, to keep people from continuing forward. It discourages people's involvement. And I believe it's been accomplished by design. This isn't random. This is an attack on we the people. Mark my words, it is. And it is my opinion that that's what's happening. When you get in there and you start searching around for information, and they make things so difficult to find within the state website and such, you have to come to the conclusion that it's either by neglect, it's by total incompetence, or it's by planned subversion. I think you all know where I stand on this one. I believe that it is planned subversion because I can't believe that people are this absolutely stupid. There's too many attacks that are going on from different directions to subvert our vote, to subvert our elections, to subvert our freedom, and which has been designed in order to launch a coup of the United States of America. And this example that Jeff put out there is absolutely foreign intervention in our elections. And he does a really good job on it. I'm really happy that we're all here to celebrate with Jeff today. His ability to get past all of these unlawful processes that happened to him. It was shocking yesterday when he told me what was going on. And so today I called him. I said, come on, you just got to jump on here for a minute. I want to thank Jeff for jumping on here. I think that it's going to continue to move forward as we expose these people who have committed treason. They're committing treason. If they have certified this election and they don't step back up to right what they've done, they're part of it. You have to realize that these people are part of it, and they knowingly did what was going on. If they don't step up to, and this goes to the county clerks, that's the highest election official in supposed to be in the state, not the Board of Elections. They have centralized this, so they have centralized control. The clerks have got to step up and say something. 1/3 of the clerks in the state of Michigan have resigned. By talking to a clerk that's out there, said they're all scared. They've been threatened. They have been threatened. They have been intimidated. And the third of them that stepped down, I said, bring them on Brandenburg News Network. We'll interview them. No, they're not going to do that. And there's a reason for that. The only reason is because there's something going on behind the scenes that they won't step up and say something. Well, you know what? I hate to say this. If you don't step forward and say something when there's been a crime committed and you are a public functionary, you are complicit in the crime. So top to bottom of the state, same thing with all the other nonsense that's going on. The stuff where they were killing people. Whitmer, in my opinion, is guilty of third-party murder. And unless people step forward and say what was going on, you're part of it. And there's no getting around this. When we get to the bottom of this and we clean these rats out of this state, it's going to be an epic, probably biblical type of a flood that's going to go through and run right through this state from top to bottom. And you know what? There are some of us that aren't willing to back down from that challenge. John in Brandenburg is one of them. You can put my name right at the top of the list if you want to go after somebody, criminals out there, because I'm not backing down from this. And there's a whole bunch of other people out there that are not backing down from this either. And unless you're in the fight and you're playing the go along, get along, you're jumping in bed with them. There's two sides. Choose a side. Choose a side and stay away from the distractions that are out there, because the only way to right this thing is going after these electronic machines, the fraudulent voter rolls, and the criminals that are allowing them to take place and continue on in this state. Because the people that are in the seats of power, they're involved, they're allowing it. The Republicans, the Democrats, all of them are refusing to call this out. Unless we address these core issues, we're toast. So at least they think we're toast. I believe that there's a bunch of us that are not going to allow us to be toast. So one way or the other, this thing is going to get righted, and it's going to be an epic thing. And once we do get the power back to the people, it's going to be glorious. So with that said, let's say a prayer and go on to our day. I have a lot to do today. I have all these interviews that Donna Brandenburg, will be editing, because we don't have enough help. We don't have enough people that are willing to step forward and get out of the chronic bitches clubs that are the political clubs out there, where people just want to complain and sob and know what's going on, but they never do anything to right things. They just want to tell everybody their opinion. We have to work. There's so much work to be done. And I've thrown my phone number out there multiple times. I'll do it again. 61 there, go big or go home time, right? 616-430-4410. Call or text. I'll put you in my phone. Bug me. I've got so many people that I'm talking to that you have to text me repeatedly, because the ones that text, I know they're serious about that, and they float to the top of the pile. Okay. There's myself and a few people that are really working hard on this. Come and join us. We need you, and your gifts, your talents, your direction. We don't have all the answers. We're just willing to get in there and fight unwavering, and we all need to stand together. With that said, dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the joy that we have today, that Jeff was able to get through this quagmire of ways that they're trying to take everyone who's a true patriot out of the system, out of being effective. And we're so thankful that you walked him through that. You guided him, you directed him, and you kept him going. You opened the doors that he needed. You made a way when there appeared to be no other way. And thank you for his no back down personality to continue to go forward. Thank you for John Tater and all the wonderful work he's done there. bless everyone that's out there. Give them the courage to step up, to step forward. We would love to see lots of people on the ballot under the Constitution Party, because we have to have more choices than the ones that are chosen and funded by the globalists who are set against you. The war is against you. It's good versus evil. And we ask that every single honest person out there feels that tug at their heartstrings that you put there to move them forward into a position of fighting alongside of really good people to right what is here, and that could be fantastic. Thank you so much for loving us, for giving us a way to have peace with you through our Lord Jesus Christ's death and resurrection on the cross. We are thankful for that, and we claim Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior, not only at the end of life, but every single day. We thank you so much that we can come to you with all things, and that there's always an answer there, that there's always peace in your presence, that we can go through all things, and you give us the strength, the help, the guidance. You give us everything that's part of you, discernment and all of that, even wisdom if we listen to you, and we thank you so much for that. You're a great friend to us, and we want to be a friend to you. We love you. In the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, we pray. Amen. This part of the show, boys and girls, where we go to BrandenburgForGovernor.com, because I'm the best non-conceder who has ever not conceded to these liars, cheats, and thieves. And we're going to continue to go forward fighting against these liars, cheats, and thieves until they are removed. They should lose their citizenship. They should be prosecuted for what they've done. They should be disabled from ever being in a position of power ever again. And in our stand for God, family, and country, for the people who are innocent, who have been hurt, who have lost their lives, for the wonderful people in our military who have stepped up to the call and refused to back down. We're thankful for every single one of you out there. And with that said, here we go. Heart hands. I can see it on the other side. God bless you all. God bless all those whom you love, and God bless America. Make it a great day. It's a choice. If you don't have a good example, be one. God will put something in your heart for you to do, and he will enable you every step of the way. And all of a sudden, doors open up. And things open up, opportunities open up like you cannot even imagine. You just have to be willing to take that first step, the step of faith that God wants you to do this. You don't even know how to do it. He will bring you everything to you that you need to stand for him, for good in the face of evil. He will not leave you nor forsake you ever. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. Liberty Essentials with Bill Moore, Karen the Riveter, Ralph the IT guy, and Dan Cummings will be on tomorrow. And I'm going to try to get all these people from Turning Point USA on as live interviews as we play their videos that we did there at Turning Point USA. You're very loved. Never forget that. And you're important. God created you. He approves of you. And we're all in process. We're all works in process. Nobody's got this all the way figured out. We're not God. God is God. We are people. And we fumble through things a little bit, but as he leads us through the fog of war that we're in, he will help us on that path, and we will find our way out on the other side of this. Don't worry about it. God's in control, and it's going to be okay. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.